Okay, so the first thing we want to do is fix this background. And I'm going to go to Windows up here and choose Backdrop Options. It's also Control F5 on your keyboard. And for the backdrop, I don't mind a deep blue sky like that. That's fine. For the sky color itself, we want just, I think we might go a little towards the orange if we can pull it off. Let's see. It's a little brown. But what I'm going to do is drag that and copy that color. So if you're on a PC, use your Windows little copy color machine, little preview thing that comes up, and do the same as well. And get yourself just kind of a nice orange rusty color. And this might not work. I might just stick with the blues. But what I'm going to do is copy that color. Okay. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want the ground color to be the same. And that will eliminate that horizon line that Lightweight puts in. And for the nadir, we can also just do maybe just even just like a nice black or bright orange or something. Okay, now what this means here, this is think of this as an invisible sphere that wraps around the entire light we've seen. So the zenith is right above the top. The sky is, of course, the sky. The ground, of course, is the ground. And the nadir is actually all the way at the bottom of that sphere. And you can squeeze those together. Let's just do a quick render. Press F9. And now you've got that brownish color there. Okay. Notice that nasty horizon line is gone. Okay. Now, I think I do want to stick more with the blues. They always seem to really work well for broadcast. Of course, depending on what you're doing, and I'm just copying the colors here. Just taking that blue and I copied it. Depending on what you're doing and who you're doing it for, they would have their own specific set of colors. But yeah, I think the blue looks much nicer, just a deep blue. Now, if you squeeze this, okay, what actually might be kind of cool is to take this bottom one, make it just, yeah, like that bright orange, squeeze that up like that. And what that'll do is kind of compress that color. See it coming up in there? Almost like a sunset. Let's go a little bit more. And I might even squeeze in the sky a little bit. There. So just a little bit of color in there. Okay. So let's close this out. Close that out. S to save the scene. And Shift S to create a new version. New incremental version. Okay, so let's go to Surface Editor and let's take a look at these fonts, right? Basic blue, right? Kind of boring. Here's something I can do. I can take the texture editor for the font, choose image map, normal, planar, and take that skyline, and instead of a planar, let's choose it as front. Okay, now this will do something kind of cool. What it's going to do is essentially project that image onto those fonts. And if you take a look here, it doesn't actually line up, which is exactly what we want. It just kind of gives it just a little different, sort of like a mask in a way. And what the front projection is really for is for compositing. So if we were using, in our backdrop options, you can go here to compositing options. If we had a backdrop image and we used a front projection like this, this image would line up perfectly with this image. And you can blend objects between it. But I often like to just do it like this because you can tell it's the same image, but it just has a little bit variation to it. So again, it's just an image map on the font with a front projection. Okay? Now, it's not going to look too good just yet. So what we're going to do is maybe make it about 60% transparent. Okay? Then I'm going to go to Advanced and put on maybe about 50% glow. Color highlights. That's if it was very specular, very shiny. Rather than a white hotspot, you could have a colored highlight based on the color of it. We don't need any of that, so that's fine. You can come to the Windows Image Processing and choose Enable Glow. And that turns on the glow. We'll save all objects. It saves our surface settings, and we'll do a save scene. And do an F9, give us a render. And now we start to get a little bit nicer look. Okay. So it's almost as if those fonts are just kind of ghosts in the background. Because don't forget, we're going to have our big logo right on top. And we can move that city skyline as needed. So that font in back, I'm not so sure about. It's getting a little lost back there. So let's do this. Let's bring the transparency to more about 45%. And let's bring the glow up to maybe 65. And something you can do too is give it a little luminosity. Just kind of gives it a little bit different look. And we'll do an F9. Now you can also go in and make that font a different surface. So the front font's going to have its own surface and the back fonts can. Because we're not really picking up much of the glow on there. But I think for now it's okay. And again, don't forget that it's just going to rotate around. And let me open up F prime here. Okay, and this is again from Worley Labs. This is not included in Lightwave. It's just it can help us give us a real-time preview without the glows. But here you can see now there's the news moving in the background. Okay, so all very, very simple, but we're creating some depth just with basically 2 sets of flat fonts and a flat image. Okay. You can do some other creative things to the skyline itself. If you take the skyline, you can make it very luminous, or you can actually just black it out. Now, how would that look? Well, we're using it for the fonts, but the fonts then actually become a window, so to speak, because we only blacked out the actual skyline. We didn't black out the image on the fonts. So then you create sort of this mask. Let's open up F prime again, see if we can see it. There it is. So you create this cool looking kind of mask by using that front projection. See? Didn't know you could do this all in Lightwave. Everybody thinks you got to composite and use other third-party programs. Now, I don't want to go that dark with the actual skyline. Okay, so let's bring the diffuse up maybe, about 20%. I think I still have a window open here somewhere. There we go. About 20%. Just enough so you could see it like that. Okay, because what's going to happen when we put all of our glows and flares and everything on, you want just a hint of a city back there. Okay, so that's why I thought the New York would work fine. You're not going to necessarily notice a huge difference that it's not Chicago, but we're just doing a generic, of course. All right, so starting to get busy, but looking good as well. I would definitely want more glow on here because we're only getting it on the front, so we need to get on the back. So I might actually create another surface for those back letters so I can control their surface. Right now, the front and the back letters are sharing the same surface. So, but for now, that's okay. S to save the scene, and we'll do a save all objects so that our surfaces are saved. And let's move on to the next video, and we'll start building up our flares, which we're going to use some lights and some flares, but there's another way we're going to do some of these streaks as well. We're going to jump back into Modeler, and we're going to create a little bit more font that we're a little more bit of fonts that we're going to use, and then we'll build the flares on top of that.